Instead of acting on the hints, the warnings from Archangel Michael were overlooked. Now someone you love is standing in the path of what's coming. The hour has turned, and what was once whispered as a warning has now become the weight of consequence. The voice of Archangel Michael was never faint, never random, never misplaced. It carried the urgency of heaven itself, speaking through signs, through interruptions, through that inward stirring you could not explain away. Yet silence fell. Doubt crept in. Action was delayed. And in that hesitation, the shield meant to guard you wavered. What was meant to be prevented is now pressing closer than you ever thought possible. Understand this clearly. The hints were not coincidences. They were heaven's signals, strategically placed to reroute your path and preserve the ones you love. But when the nudge of the Spirit is dismissed, when the flame of conviction is ignored, the enemy claims a foothold. That is why today the message is not only about you, but about someone down to your heart, someone innocent, someone unaware, someone now standing in the line of what was allowed to draw near. This word is not for the many. It is not casual. It is not for the curious. It is for the one who knows in their spirit that heaven interrupted them, tugged at them, warned them. Yet they turned away or stood still when action was required. And now the weight of that pause is heavy in the atmosphere. The unseen realm has moved. The dust has shifted. What you once could ignore without consequence can no longer be ignored. But hear this as well. The story is not sealed. The chapter is not over. The mercy of God remains, but the margin has thinned. What heaven requires now is obedience, stillness, and surrender. The path ahead can yet be softened. The blow can yet be redirected. But the urgency is real, and the demand is clear. This is your moment of alignment. This is your call to awaken. Do not look back with regret. Look forward with resolve. For what stands at risk is precious, and what is required now is holy response. Type "I am chosen" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1444 is now activated. In the quiet of last night, a sound broke through the veil of silence. It was not the sound of earth, not the echo of a dream, not the stirring of the mind. It was the voice of Michael, the archangel who wars on behalf of the people of God. His voice grew louder because heaven's patience grew thinner. His cry came not as suggestion, but as a divine alarm. He declared that the hour has shifted. He declared that within days, a storm has been permitted to move closer to your house, closer to your heart, closer to someone you cannot bear to lose. The warnings you received before were not random interruptions. They were alarms, sounded before the shaking began. They were moments where your spirit felt a nudge, where something told you to wait, or to speak, or to move. But hesitation spoke louder. You thought there would be more time. You thought you could delay obedience. But delay has now created exposure, and heaven's alarm is sounding with greater urgency than ever before. This is not a word for every ear. It is not a word to entertain the curious or to satisfy the doubting. This is a prophetic interruption aimed directly at you, the one who felt the heaviness in the atmosphere, the one who sensed something stirring beyond human explanation. Heaven does not waste its voice. When Michael speaks, it is because the unseen battle has shifted. And now, his warning carries not only a message for your soul, but a plea for the protection of someone you love deeply. Listen carefully. What you ignored for yourself now threatens to touch another. What you dismissed as imagination has now taken form. The enemy has seen hesitation and has moved to exploit it. You felt the tug in the spirit. You felt the pull that something was about to happen. And now that same tug presses against your chest because the consequence has drawn near. The storm has been permitted, not because God delights in it, but because obedience delayed always carries weight. Yet, in this very moment, Michael declares that the outcome is not final. The door of reversal has not closed. Heaven is not silent. God has not withdrawn his mercy. The warning is sharper, the urgency is greater, but the promise of covering still stands. You are being summoned, not into panic, but into obedience. Not into despair, but into alignment. For when you stand still, heaven moves. When you incline your ear, Michael fights. And when you obey without hesitation, the angels of God are loosed to surround those who matter most to you. Mark these words. Within days, what was unseen will surface. Within days, decisions will collide with outcomes. And within days, heaven will measure the weight of your obedience. The choice is before you. Surrender and be shielded, or remain still and allow what is at risk to stand unguarded. The urgency is not to frighten you, but to awaken you. For only the awakened hear the sound of angelic warning before the storm strikes. You are not alone in this. The armies of heaven have encamped. Michael himself has spoken. And though the danger presses close, the shield of God is stronger still. But now is the moment of response. Type "I am anointed" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1122 is now activated. There comes a moment when silence itself feels heavy, when the air around you thickens and you cannot shake the sense that something is watching. This is that moment. The watchers in the unseen realm have marked hesitation. They saw when the warning came. They saw when heaven tugged at your spirit. And though they did not know the full counsel of God, they saw enough to notice the crack, the pause in obedience, the delay in action. They knew you felt it. They knew you hesitated. And hesitation is always the opening they wait for. There is a mystery to why heaven allows warnings to repeat. It is because God desires mercy over judgment, protection over loss, restoration over destruction. But when a heart grows numb to divine interruptions, when the whisper of the Spirit is brushed aside, the mystery shifts into disruption. What once was meant only as a personal alarm now stretches beyond you, touching those bound to your life. This is why you feel restless, why you cannot ignore the stirring in your chest, because it is no longer just about you. It is about someone you love. Someone who does not even know that they are now standing in the path of what was allowed to draw near. There is betrayal in this realization. Not betrayal by heaven, but betrayal by your own choices. You wonder why you dismiss the voice. You wonder why you told yourself you would respond tomorrow. And now heaven presses the question, why bring it up now? Why awaken this urgency in this exact moment? Because the storm is near, and the window for mercy has narrowed. The enemy presses closer, thinking you will remain in hesitation. But heaven has stepped in again, one more time, to declare you can still alter what comes next. This tension is divine. It is uncomfortable, because it is meant to be. The unease you feel is not to destroy you, but to pull you into awakening. For there is an unseen struggle raging, angels restraining forces that would have already advanced had you not been marked by destiny. Yes, destiny. That is why the pressure is so great. That is why the pull on your spirit is relentless. Because your obedience matters not only for you, but for those attached to your life. And so the mystery deepens. Why you? Why now? Why this? Because heaven has chosen to reveal what was hidden, to disturb your comfort and to call forth obedience in the face of disruption. Do not dismiss this unease. It is the evidence that heaven is fighting for you. It is the confirmation that the one you love, though standing in the path, is not beyond protection. But that protection hinges on what you choose now. The watchers thought your delay meant weakness. But heaven's eye see beyond weakness. Heaven sees the moment of reversal before it unfolds. What almost slipped away can be claimed again. What was nearly exposed can be hidden under the wings of the Almighty. But you must move, you must yield. You must listen to the cry of Michael that resounds even now. Type I receive in the comments if this word has found you. Blessing code 1717 is covering you now. This is not random. This is not chance. This is not the chaos of life spinning out of control. This is warfare. It is the collision of light and darkness, of destiny and delay, of heaven's call against the enemy's schemes. What you are facing now, and what your loved one is standing in the path of, is not punishment but consequence, the natural weight of warnings unheeded. Yet even within consequence, the mercy of God breaks through like fire in the night. Do not mistake this conflict as abandonment. Heaven has not left you. The fact that Michael's voice is still reaching you proves that God is not silent. If heaven had turned away, no message would remain, no stirring would trouble your spirit, no urgency would cling to your soul. The very sound of this word is evidence. You are still seen, still guarded, still chosen. That is why the pressure has intensified. It is not because you are forgotten, but because you are marked. Those chosen for destiny always draw the fiercest battles. The enemy does not war where there is no threat. Hear this. You are under attack because of what you carry. You are pursued because of who you are destined to become. And the loved one now caught in the crossfire is tied to your calling, tied to your obedience, tied to the future heaven has written over your life. The spiritual conflict is not about destroying them. It is about weakening you. For if the enemy can shake your heart, if he can pierce you with fear through the danger to someone you love, then he believes he can silence your faith. But he is mistaken. Michael reminds you, this is not the end. What appears to be unraveling is, in truth, a test. Heaven is weighing whether you will rise now with obedience, or whether you will let delay rob you again. And within that choice lies the framing of this entire battle. It is not about punishment. It is about awakening. It is about the drawing out of a warrior's spirit that you did not even know was within you. The spiritual conflict is fierce, but so is your destiny. The whispers you ignored were not to shame you, but to save you. The shaking you feel now is not to destroy you, but to strengthen you. And the reason heaven presses so urgently is because the consequence, though real, does not have to remain permanent. You can step back into alignment. You can draw a shield over the one you love. You can stand between the enemy's scheme and heaven's protection. But the call demands a response now. Lift your head. Do not bow under guilt. Do not drown in regret. The framing of this battle is not about where you failed, but about where you will stand now. Heaven still surrounds you. The armies of God still march for you. And the conflict raging is only proof that your life, and the life of the one you love, carries weight in the kingdom. What the enemy wanted for destruction, heaven will yet use for glory. The warning is not to destroy hope. The warning is the proof of hope. For heaven warns only when there is something left to save. And Michael declares there is still something left to save. Type "I am guarded" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2020 is now covering you. The atmosphere is shifting. The stillness you feel is not peace. It is the silence before the strike. In the unseen realm, movements are accelerating. Forces are gathering. Decisions already made in the spirit are pressing toward manifestation in the natural. Heaven permitted a window, and within that window the enemy has set his trap. This is why the air feels heavy. This is why your chest feels pressed. This is why you wake in the night with unrest, why you sense something coming though you cannot name it. Because something is coming. Michael speaks with urgency. Within 72 hours, decisions will collide with outcomes. What was whispered will become visible. What was hidden in darkness will be uncovered by light. The enemy is not waiting. He is pressing. He is pushing. He is attempting to seize what was left unguarded when the warnings went ignored. And though he cannot touch your destiny without permission, he will always circle around what you love most, hoping to weaken your faith through their vulnerability. That is why the danger has drawn near to them. That is why the storm is circling so close to your house. But listen carefully. Danger is not destiny. What approaches is real, but it is not final. What threatens to break is only allowed to test. And what feels like the end is, in truth, a summons for you to rise. Michael does not sound alarms without reason. When he declares urgency, it means the hour is short and the decisions of heaven and earth are converging. You are standing in a prophetic window where your obedience, your surrender, your alignment can shift the weight of what unfolds next. Do not dismiss this moment. Do not tell yourself you have more time. The 72 hours are marked. The countdown has begun. And if you stay silent, if you stay numb, the pressure will find its target. But if you awaken, if you respond, if you bend your will toward heaven, then what was meant for harm can be turned What was meant to strike can be softened. What was meant to pierce can be redirected. Even now, plots are forming in the unseen. Conversations are happening in secret rooms. Decisions are being planned behind closed doors. Attacks are being prepared by hands that think they move unseen. But nothing escapes the gaze of heaven. Nothing hides from the eye of Michael. What they plot in silence, heaven exposes in light. What they prepare in shadows, heaven thwarts in glory. The danger is real, but so is the shield that surrounds you. You must not tremble at this warning. You must let it awaken you. This is not the time to scatter, but the time to anchor. Not the time to doubt, but the time to declare. For what presses close has not yet struck, and what looms heavy has not yet fallen. The urgency is your mercy. The warning is your protection. The cry of heaven is your invitation to rise before the weight of consequence grows heavier still. Within days, the unseen will touch the seen. But within days, your obedience can draw a shield. Choose your response now. For heaven waits, Michael wars, and the outcome is in motion. Type "I will obey" in the comments if this word has found you. Blessing code 3033 is surrounding you now. Now hear the instruction of heaven, for warnings without guidance bring no life. Michael does not only cry of what approaches, he also reveals the shield, the strategy, the sacred response that secures safety. The command is simple, yet powerful. Be still. Be silent. Be surrendered. For when you stand still, Michael fights. When you go quiet, heaven roars. When you bow and surrender, the throne of God rises in defense. This is not the hour to move in fleshly impulse. It is not the hour to argue, to fight with words, to scatter in confusion. The enemy thrives on noise, on distraction, on your restless movement. But heaven works in silence, in stillness, in the yielding of your spirit to the greater hand of God. Your protection in this moment is not found in frantic action, but in sacred obedience to pause, to withdraw, to wait upon the Lord. Yes, the storm is circling. Yes, the loved one stands near its path. But your shield is not found in panic, it is found in posture. A bowed heart summons more angelic power than 1,000 human strategies. A whispered prayer of surrender shakes the foundations of darkness more than hours of anxious thought. For when you still your soul before the Lord, He releases legions of angels to war in your place. And Michael declares, I have been sent to fight for you, but your stillness is the signal heaven awaits. Do not mistake silence for weakness. Do not confuse stillness with passivity. Silence is strategy. Stillness is war. Your withdrawal into the secret place is the loudest roar against the enemy's schemes. When you choose not to answer chaos with chaos, you align yourself with the order of heaven. When you choose not to respond in flesh, you permit God to respond in fire. And the fire of God never fails. Hear this. Heaven is not calling you to do nothing. Heaven is calling you to do the one thing that matters most. Yield. In your silence, cover your loved one in prayer. In your stillness, decree their protection. In your surrender, Invite Michael to war where you cannot. For the moment you let go, heaven takes hold. The moment you release, the angels are released. And what seemed impossible suddenly bends under the weight of divine intervention. This is why you cannot move in fear. Fear will drive you to act too quickly. Fear will press you to speak words not rooted in faith. Fear will push you to step ahead of God. But silence is your defiance. Stillness is your declaration that the enemy will not control your steps. Surrender is your sign that you trust the one who sees beyond the storm. Take heart. The danger is not beyond heaven's reach. The storm is not greater than God's hand. And the one you love is not standing alone. Heaven encamps around them as you obey this word. What you lost in delay can be redeemed in surrender. What you missed in hesitation can be reclaimed in stillness. Heaven is not finished. Michael is not retreating. And God is not silent. Now, go quiet. Go still. Go surrendered. For this is your shield, and this is the way you protect what matters most. Type "I am covered" in the comments if this word has spoken to you. Blessing code 4141 now rests upon your household. You are not who you were when you missed the sign. You are not the same soul who hesitated at the whisper of heaven. That moment has passed, and though it carried consequence, it has also forged within you a new strength. Heaven did not bring this word to leave you bowed in shame, but to awaken the fire of authority within you. For you were never meant to remain in guilt. You were meant to rise in glory. Michael speaks now not with warning, but with empowerment. The trial that shook you is also the trial that refined you. The storm that drew near is also the storm that wakens the warrior within. You have been pressed, but the pressing has produced oil. You have been shaken, but the shaking has stripped away weakness. You have been tested, but the testing has revealed a deeper authority you did not know you carried. Do not call yourself broken. Call yourself refined. Do not see yourself as disqualified. See yourself as strengthened. What was once hesitation is now being transformed into holy boldness. The enemy wanted the delay to destroy you. He wanted the guilt to silence you. He wanted regret to chain you. But heaven has flipped the script. Instead of leaving you bound, heaven has chosen this moment to break the chains and to declare that you are rising stronger than before. You are stepping into a new posture, not one of trembling, but one of authority. The same voice that once delayed will now declare. The same hands that once hesitated will now be lifted in power. And the same heart that once doubted will now burn with conviction. Think of fire refined in the furnace, hotter, purer, brighter than before. That is what you are becoming. The wings that once felt folded are now spreading wide. The chains that once clung are now falling to the ground. The fear that once bound your steps is now breaking under the sound of your rising. You are not defined by the warning you ignored. You are defined by the strength heaven has placed in you now. Do not look back with regret. Look forward with vision. Do not bow under what almost happened. Stand tall in what heaven is about to do. For Michael declares that this storm will not end with your defeat, with your elevation. The one you love will not be lost, for your rising has drawn a covering over them. Your strength is now their shield. Your obedience is now their defense. And your boldness is now the key to unlocking heaven's intervention. Take hold of this identity. You are chosen, refined, and empowered. You are a vessel of light, a carrier of fire, a warrior clothed in divine authority. No more hesitation. No more delay. The one who rises now is not the same as the one who ignored the whisper. You have been changed, and heaven marks the change with a mantle of authority. Rise, for you are no longer the warned. You are the warrior. Type "I am empowered" in the comments if this word has ignited your spirit. Blessing code 5151 is now released over your destiny. Now the veil is pulled back, and the reason for the shaking is revealed. What you walked through, what you delayed, what you feared, it was not to break you, but to awaken you. Heaven permitted the test not to destroy, but to refine your hearing, to sharpen your spirit, and to draw you into deeper obedience. For heaven knows that destiny cannot be carried on half-listening ears or divided hearts. The storm came close not as punishment, but as preparation. The nearness of danger was heaven's way of showing you the urgency of obedience, the cost of delay, and the weight of the mantle you carry. Michael declares this revelation: you are being entrusted with new authority. This is why the attack came so strong, why the delay was so costly, and why the warning was so loud. Because you are being trained to walk in higher realms of responsibility, to move with greater spiritual discernment, and to carry blessings that require sharpened hearing. The trial was not about your destruction. It was about your activation. Hear this clearly. Heaven did not allow the storm to expose you, but to prepare you. The loved one who now stands in the path is not doomed, for heaven has not withdrawn protection. Instead, heaven is using this moment to show you that your voice, your prayer, your obedience can shift the balance of entire households. The danger was real, but so is the shield. The shaking was heavy, but so is the glory being revealed. This is the prophetic mystery unveiled, that even trials become the very soil where blessing grows. You asked why heaven reminded you of the warning. You asked why the guilt pressed so heavily. And here is the revelation, because heaven never points to the past without offering a doorway to the future. What you ignored has now become the seat of new authority. What you missed has now become the mantle of sharper vision. What you almost lost has now become the testimony of heaven's intervention. The storm that came to scatter has been transformed into a stage for your elevation. This is not just about you. It is about every life tied to you, every destiny connected to your obedience. For when you rise, they rise. When you align, they are covered. When you obey, their path is shielded. Heaven is declaring today, your name is written, your life is known, your destiny is guarded. Nothing that comes against you will succeed, for the storm has revealed that you are chosen, sealed, and marked for divine protection. Do not fear what is near. Rejoice in what has been revealed. For you now walk with clearer ears, stronger faith, and sharper discernment. The warning became a turning, and the turning has become a blessing. Type "I walk in revelation" in the comments if this word has opened your eyes. Blessing code 8181 is now flowing over your life. The time has come for you to rise into the fullness of what heaven has marked over your life. No longer are you simply a hearer of warnings. You are becoming a carrier of declarations. No longer are you the one who delays. You are now the one who moves mountains with your voice, with your faith, with your obedience. Destiny is not waiting for another season, another day, another sign. Destiny is calling now. Michael stands as witness, declaring that the delay which once hindered you has been broken. The storm was meant to scatter you, but instead it has positioned you for activation. What you went through was not wasted. Every whisper ignored, every moment of unrest, every sleepless night, all of it has pressed you into a new dimension of awareness. And now, heaven waits for your yes. Do you not see? The one you love stands in the path not only as a test, but as a sign. Their vulnerability revealed to you the weight of your calling. Their nearness to danger awakened the roar in your spirit. For heaven was showing you, your obedience does not only shield you, it shields those attached to you. Your destiny is not individual, it is generational. Your yes today secures their tomorrow. Your alignment today unlocks their covering. This is why the storm pressed so close, to reveal that your prayers carry power beyond your own life. It is time to activate. Activate through prayer, where your words become swords cutting through the plans of the enemy. Activate through fasting, where your surrender draws fresh oil from heaven. Activate through bold declarations, where you command light into every shadow, life into every dry place, protection over every loved one. Do not sit silently anymore. Heaven is waiting for your roar. The angels move at the sound of obedience, and Michael himself responds when faith is spoken with fire. Rise, declare, and command. Speak over your loved one. They will not fall. They will not be struck. They will not be consumed. Speak over yourself. I am shielded. I am chosen. I am activated. Speak over your house. The storm will pass, but we will remain standing. Your words are no longer casual. They are prophetic keys. With every declaration, you shift the atmosphere. With every cry, you summon angelic armies. With every yes, you bring heaven closer to earth. This is the moment where destiny becomes alive. Heaven did not awaken you only to leave you trembling. Heaven awakened you to rise. You are stepping into alignment, stepping into covering, stepping into authority. Do not shrink back. Do not retreat. This is not a season of hiding. This is a season of rising. Michael declares, your destiny has been activated. Your yes has been recorded. Your authority has been marked. And the loved one who was caught in the path of what was coming is now standing under the shield of your obedience. The storm still circles, but it cannot strike. For heaven has marked you, and heaven has marked them, and the seal of protection is set. Type "I am activated" in the comments if you know this word is for you. Blessing code 9191 is now covering your destiny and your household. Even as you hear these words, Transactions are taking place in silence. Not in the markets of men, not in the councils of earth, but in the high places of the Spirit where angels gather and destinies are weighed. You may not see it with your eyes, but heaven's courtroom is in session. The enemy has brought accusation, presenting the cracks of hesitation, the delays of obedience, the moments where you faltered. But opposite him stands Michael, armed not with accusation, but with intercession, declaring that mercy speaks louder than failure. This is the silent exchange, the unseen negotiation where what was threatened is now being shielded, where what almost slipped from your grasp is being reclaimed. The darkness demanded rights, demanded access, demanded to strike. But heaven did not yield. Instead, heaven responded with covenant. Angels have stepped forward, presenting the covering of God's promise over your life, presenting the seal of Christ's blood over your household, presenting the declaration that what belongs to God cannot be seized by the enemy's hand. Even now, the scales are shifting. The weight that once leaned toward danger is being pulled back toward protection. The threat that pressed against your loved one is being intercepted by forces they cannot see. The silent exchange is underway, where heaven takes what was meant for destruction and transforms it into a testimony of deliverance. And though you do not hear the voices in this courtroom, your spirit senses the tension. That is why you feel the unease. That is why you feel the urgency. It is because your life, your obedience, your loved one's protection is being contended for in the unseen realm. But hear the good news. Heaven has not lost a case yet. Not one storm has broken through where the blood of Christ was declared. Not one arrow has struck where Michael has drawn his sword. The enemy may shout, but heaven's silence is louder. For in silence, exchanges are made. In silence, inheritances are secured. In silence, angels trade danger for destiny, trade sorrow for joy, trade loss for restoration. This is the power of the silent exchange. What was nearly taken is now being given back. What was nearly exposed is now being hidden under the shadow of the Almighty. What was nearly broken is now being restored stronger than before. The silent exchange has reversed what the enemy prepared. Even while you sleep, heaven moves. Even while you cry, angels fight. Even while you pray in weakness, heaven's armies roar in strength. Lift your head, for though your ears cannot hear it, the sound of victory is echoing in the courts of heaven. The silent exchange has tipped the balance. The loved one who stood in the path of danger is now being covered. The storm that circled is losing its grip. And the very delay that the enemy thought would destroy you has become the reason heaven released greater mercy. This is the mystery, that while earth trembles in fear, heaven moves in silence. And in that silence, victory is secured. Type "victory is mine" in the comments if you believe this word. Blessing code 1010 is now sealed over your life. The hour of justice has come. Heaven does not remain silent forever. Though the enemy sought to exploit hesitation, though he pressed into the cracks of delay, the scales have now tipped. The courtroom of heaven has ruled, and Michael declares that the verdict is clear. Reversal has been decreed. The arrows that were aimed at your house will not strike you. The snare that was set for your loved one will collapse under its own weight. The schemes meant to bring sorrow will boomerang back upon the senders. For heaven is not mocked, and God will not allow his chosen ones to be devoured. You must understand, divine justice does not simply balance the scales. It shifts them. The hand of God does not merely block the blow. It reverses it. The danger that pressed toward you is now being redirected. The very traps the enemy thought would destroy you are becoming pits for his own downfall. The tears he intended to draw from your eyes are being turned into rivers of joy. This is the nature of God's justice. It is not passive, it is active. It does not only defend, it restores, it multiplies, it overthrows. Hear this clearly. What the enemy meant for harm has become the seed of testimony. Your hesitation, though costly, did not cancel destiny. Instead, it revealed the ferocity of heaven's protection over you. The loved one who stood in the path is now being drawn under the covering of reversal. What was circling them is now circling back upon the one who sent it. What was pressing to pierce them is now pierced by heaven's judgment. This is the divine turnaround. The season of fear is shifting into a season of vindication. The whispers of accusation are being silenced by the roar of heaven's decree. And the one who tried to break you is now watching as you rise stronger, covered, and marked for increase. For divine reversal does not only protect, it elevates. It places a crown where there was once ashes. It declares honor where there was once shame. It builds new foundations on the very ground where destruction was planned. You must receive this truth. Heaven has ruled in your favor. The case is settled. The outcome is secure. Justice has been released, and reversal is unfolding. The delay that once gave the enemy boldness has now given heaven a stage to display power. The disruption that once pressed against your family has now become the doorway for restoration. Even now, angels are moving with swiftness to return what was stolen, to restore what was weakened, to reestablish what was shaken. Take courage. The loved one who was vulnerable is not only covered, they are being restored. You are not only shielded, you are being strengthened. What the enemy thought he had claimed has slipped from his grasp and returned to your hands. The verdict of heaven is clear. You are chosen, you are guarded, and you are rising in the light of divine reversal. This is justice. This is restoration. This is heaven's response to the storm. Type divine reversal in the comments if you know this word is yours. Blessing code 1212 has now been activated over your life. The warnings were real. The hesitation was costly. But the mercy of God was greater still. You stand here now not as one abandoned, but as one preserved. The loved one who seemed exposed has been covered. The storm that threatened to strike has been redirected. The whispers that accused have been silenced by heaven's decree. This is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of your rise. Michael declares, you are seen, you are sealed, you are sent. The warnings were not in vain, for they awakened your spirit, sharpened your ear, and drew you back into alignment. Heaven's covering has not lifted, and the one who matters to you most is now standing within the shield of divine protection. The blood speaks louder than delay, louder than fear, louder than the schemes of darkness. And that blood now rests upon your household. Take this final affirmation into your spirit. You are not forgotten, you are not forsaken, and you are not fragile. You are chosen. You are guarded. You are destined. The storm may circle, but it cannot consume. The enemy may roar, but he cannot devour. The verdict is set, the reversal is sealed, and your household is marked by heaven's favor. What was meant to end you has only prepared you. What was meant to destroy you has only revealed the power of the God who fights for you. So rise now with confidence. Walk forward in boldness. Do not look back at what was almost lost. Look ahead at what is now secured. The time of hesitation is over. The season of empowerment has begun. You are a witness of mercy, a carrier of authority, and a testimony of divine justice. Heaven stands with you. Michael wars for you. And the Lord himself has declared, you will not be shaken. Type I am sealed in the comments if this closing word rests upon you. Blessing code 7777 now surrounds your life.